Hi friends, I want to send you a quick video of encouragement as we head into likely the strangest Easter any of us have ever experienced. As I've thought about this, I've thought about that first Easter when the disciples were huddled and isolated and locked in a room. And they were not in their Easter fine attire, but were very isolated. And so we will share that with them this year. As I've thought about this, I've thought about a verse, 1 Peter 3:18. I think it really can be an encouragement to us in this season. It says, "For Christ also suffered once for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous." So we remember this today, we remember Good Friday, that Jesus suffered and died. But the natural question is, why did Jesus have to die? He was righteous, he had never done anything wrong. I asked that very question to a carpet installer this past fall. His name was Mark. We were sitting on my floor as we were getting new carpet and talking. And I noticed a tattoo of a cross on his arm and asked him if he knew that, of why Jesus had to die, a perfect man. And he had no idea. As we talked, the answer is here. I explained that he died for the unrighteous. He died for us. You know, in this time of quarantine, I find myself getting frustrated or annoyed or impatient or selfish. And imagine some of you might have as well. And the reality is I've been that way all my life. And I've never lived up to my standards, much less God's standards. None of us have, if we're honest. And that's why Jesus died. Not for what he had done wrong, but for those who ask him to pay for their sins. And I explained that to Mark. The rest of this verse goes on and says, that he might bring us, Jesus might bring us to God, being put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the spirit. Jesus died to bring us to God. You know, I don't know all the reasons why God has allowed this pandemic, why that every theater and stadium and a concert hall and gym and basically any place you'd want to go to have fun are closed or silent or empty. But I do know this, that in times when all this is taken away, it does focus our attention, does it not? That this is not paradise. This is not the way it should be. This is not the world that we long to live in. And so God is going to take us or Jesus is going to take us to be with God. He died, he came and died, but not only died, right? The end of it says, but he was made alive by the Spirit. Jesus rose again in a few days. We'll all celebrate Easter Sunday. And likely we'll do it on our couches. I hope you too will be watching a service streamed. And there we are, like those early disciples, and celebrating that Jesus defeated death. But we're waiting. We're waiting. We are not content with this. We are longing to be taken to God and taken out of a world with sickness and death. You know, sadly, the end of that story is I just found out a few days ago that Mark died. He died of a drug overdose beginning of March. And I don't know what he did with what I shared with him between the fall and March. I hope that he placed his faith in Christ, that he asked Jesus to pay for his sins. That's my desire for all of us, that this Easter, that we would have the joy and peace of knowing that though there are many problems right now in the world and discomforts, that we have a hope that is sure that Jesus will come back as he defeated death 2,000 years ago. He will come back and take us to be with God. That's the story of Easter, and that can be greatly encouraging.